Clinico was created to address directly pet overpopulation and the subsequent euthanasia of animals in the Los Angeles area shelters. They just get lost. They get lost, and if they're lucky, they get picked up by animal control and brought into a shelter where they're safe. And if they're really lucky, they are wearing ID and they get to go home. People move. People are forced out of their homes for whatever reason and are forced to move into apartments where they're not allowed to have pets. Sometimes they are forced to deal with behavioral problems that they can't deal with and can't afford to get the help they need. They end up in shelters because they can't afford veterinary care. They can't afford it if their animal gets sick, gets injured, or even if they need just basic care like spay-neuter. And that's why Clinico exists. We provide low-cost, high-quality spay-neuter that will do several things. One, it prevents unwanted litters that fill shelters and put extra pressure on shelter workers and the shelters themselves to deal with. Secondly, it affords the shelter an opportunity to spend more time on those animals that perhaps have behavioral challenges or medical challenges that at this time the shelter can't deal with.
So how is it that today you decided to get her spayed and neutered?
Well, she had two sets of puppies already, and we said that's it. We don't want her to have any more.
Well, I got a voucher, and so it's actually only going to cost me $10, versus the $120 that the vet wanted. So it's a lot of money. I'm actually very, very glad you guys are doing this.
We hope to spay and neuter 18,000 animals per clinic per year. With 7 clinics, we believe that that kind of volume will really have an impact on shelter intake.
I had never worked for a spay and neuter clinic before, and you do hear a lot of not so nice things about spay and neuter medicine, honestly. I was really interested after I had interviewed and knew that it was going to be high quality and not just animals were going to be stuck and cut and thrown in a cage. That made me feel a lot more comfortable. I'm mainly responsible for the induction and the first set of maintenance of the anesthesia. I do the intubation, and I just make sure that they are well equipped and prepared before they go into the operating room.
My experience here is I hold animals, I make sure that they're clean before surgery, I shave them, prep them up, get them ready for the surgery table. It's like a well-oiled machine.
I'm really excited about our team. I think we all get along really well, and we all work really hard, and we're team players, and we've been moving along really quickly, a lot faster than I thought we would be, because most of us don't have the spay and neuter high volume experience, but it's been coming along really fantastic. I'm really happy with that. I love the fast pace. Constantly going is just a great thing for me.
This is what we want to be a typical day for sure. This is the right number of clients that came in, and a great demographic of clients, dogs that have been bred multiple times that will never be bred again, and pregnant animals, and which we hate to see, but on the other hand, we know how difficult it is to try to find homes this time of year for kittens. So this is a good full day for us.
We practice high volume, high quality spay-neuter here, which means I do up to 40 animals a day, a combination of dogs and cats, spays and neuters, at a very reasonable price. 2 of the cats that I spayed were both pregnant, so I prevented 10 kittens from being born today, which really makes me feel great. Well, I personally have been a shelter vet for the last 13 years. And in that context, I not only did shelter medicine, but also high volume spay-neuter. And having done that for 13 years, I've learned that overpopulation is still a horrendous problem, and hopefully the spay and neuter is the solution to the problem. If you ever go to a shelter, you will see how terribly overcrowded all shelters are. And therefore, you should always spay and neuter your own pets or any pets you get, no matter where.
Spay and neuter is very necessary in my opinion, because I firsthand working in the shelter, I was also a euthanizer, so I firsthand I see all the animals that come through, all good animals that no one wants, that have to be euthanized because of overpopulation. It's actually pretty sad. We spay LA, so the more spays we do, the less unwanted animals are thrown out into the streets that end up in shelters that don't find homes and have to be euthanized because of overpopulation. So less animals that have, the less litters there are, the less animals there are to roam the streets.
Dog or cat? You with him?
Dog.
Okay, I'm gonna give you guys some instructions. Everything is on this paperwork. Okay, so I'm just
We expect to make a big impact on shelter intake, but to do this is really expensive. High volume veterinarians are few and far between. A person who can actually do a good job doing 40 animals per day, 35 to 40 animals per day, is a real specialist and requires a level of expertise that is difficult to find and consequently expensive. The staff to support that person is also expensive, and we cannot get from the public the kind of money it takes to pay for that. So we have to rely on donors, foundations, and any other source that we can think of to get the money that we'll need to do this.
It was a very nice experience. They're very helpful, and they do give you all the information that I needed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Clinico is grateful to PetSmart Charities and the Found Animals Foundation for giving us the seed money we needed to get started. We look at animals every day that come into our clinics that have been surgically sterilized and will live good, long lives in their homes. We know, however, that we will need a lot more to be able to reach our goals of 18,000 animals per clinic per year, which will then have the impact of reducing euthanasia in shelters. And that is what we need to really achieve our goals.